Busy night here. Somehow we'll muddle through.
One second. There we go. Good.
Okay, all right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Troy City Council Finance Committee. Today is September 19th. It is 6 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Keel,
Present.
Councilmember Brosnan,
Here.
Councilmember McLaren,
Here.
Councilmember Vera,
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Here.
Councilmember Casey,
Here.
and Council President Steele, all present and accounted for. At this point, we have our public forum. So if anyone is interested in addressing the council on any item on our Finance Committee agenda, we would welcome you to come forward to the podium, and Maria will give you the mic. Do this.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Jerry Ford. I am the co-founder of Team Hero, along with my lovely wife right here, Miss Elvira Ford. And I just wanted to give a few comments in regards to our proposal that we submitted. I do have copies at this appropriate time to hand the copies out. If I had
I think
copies.
we all have them. We all have them.
Okay, all right, perfect. So our organization was formed right here in the city of Troy around 2012. My wife and I saw a need for mentoring here in the city, and God led us in the direction of creating a nonprofit where we've had an opportunity to work with most of the organizations here in the city of Troy, all the way from the Troy Central Little League, the Boys and Girls Club, and there's a laundry list of other ones. Through these partnerships, we've been able to build great relationships with the young people and the families of our community. We've been able to support those families by helping them find resources and the things that they need for self-sufficiency. And also, we've been able to see a lot of our young people go off to college and get degrees and things of that nature. So our proposal was put together with the help of the Community Loan Fund and one of our partners also, TRIP, Troy Rehabilitative Improvement Program. They work alongside of us, and we work with the Community Loan Fund, in particular, Mr. Stewart, Paul Stewart, and we were able to create this proposal that we submitted in regards to our community center. Now, this will be the home of our after-school program where our young people would come 5 days out of the week, and they would learn in STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. We've partnered with the Sanctuary from Independent Media. They have a professor there. Her name is Emily. She's doing STEAM work currently right now. And we're also in talks with the Center for Gravity. They also have a STEAM program, and we're looking to work with them. We currently connected with RPI's Art and Community Technology class, and we will be receiving 2 interns to work with us to shore up our program. I mean, I can't say enough how much this program is needed. Our mentoring was started, it was birthed out of a response to gun violence. 2 young men, they were killed right here on Old 6th Ave. And us who were concerned parents got together in the Troy Public Library, and we had a couple meetings, and we said, these meetings aren't going to be enough. We need to actually put this into action. And that action has led to, I only brought a few of them, those that I can find, but if you want to pass these around, this is just somewhat a collection of the work that we have been able to produce here for our city. And so I just wanted to open up and give just a few comments on that. Once again, thank you. Thank each and every single one of you for your commitment to the youth and the families of our city. And thank you for considering our proposal.
Thank you, Jerry. Does anyone else wish to address the council on any item on the agenda? Does anyone else wish to address the council?
Hi, Mark, South Central. I'm concerned. I feel like a broken record at this point, but we still do not have Q1, Q2 fiscal reports that I've seen. Q3 is due at the end of this month. Do we have a time frame? Have we been given a time frame of when those would be made available to the public? I see that we have line items that are budgetary moves that are occurring on this in this meeting, and we have no point of reference of where our city finances are. I still do not think we can make informed decisions without some sort of transparency from the mayor's office, and I hope that we continue to ask for those records. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Does anyone else wish to address the council as part of the public forum on any item on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move into our agenda. We have a number of ordinances and resolutions, so we'll get right to work. Ordinance 47, ordinance authorizing sales of certain city-owned parcels of real property by the proposal sale application method. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel. Discussion on the resolution.
Council President,
Councilman Vera.
I have a quick question. I think it might be for Corporation Counsel. Good evening.
Good evening.
It was actually brought to my attention back in July. But it was brought again to my attention recently, that a state law had changed
Correct.
regarding in rem.
Correct.
So I believe that's the Tyler decision that modifies the real property tax law. I couldn't tell you which article and section, but
The Tyler decision caused a change in New York State's real property tax law and changed the way we handle certain surplus funds
okay.
when it comes to selling certain properties. And we've had several internal meetings, and we fully comply with the new laws in the forwarding of any excess monies to the court system now.
Okay, so it only applies to excess money from a sale.
Correct.
Okay,
I mean, that's, yes, the legal answer is, well, there's more than that, but for purposes of discussion, yes, that's the biggest change.
okay, so we don't have any concerns that decision, that new law could affect the process that's in front of us this evening.
That's correct. And
Okay.
tonight, we don't have any issues, but
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions for Dana or comments? Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome.
Seeing or hearing no more discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Ordinance 47 is adopted unanimously. Ordinance 48, ordinance amending the 2024 general fund budget. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. Discussion on the ordinance. Any council member have any questions?
Council President,
Councilmember McLaren?
I don't know, is Gabrielle here? Oh.
Yeah, Gabrielle is here.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi. So I'm just looking to understand what is in front of us. It looks like, is this being changed, just changed from one title to another? The same, because I see it under a revenue and an expenditure. I'm just looking at Schedule A.
No, there's no change here. We're increasing the account for consultant services by $358,000. And the revenue line was increasing as well because we are going to be reimbursed by a grant.
Okay.
Council President.
Councilmember Vera?
So that's not revenue that we've recognized, but it's coming.
Correct.
Okay.
Is that typical to anticipate the revenue before it actually comes? So it gives the appearance we're spending it before we actually have it?
From my references of other transfers like this, yes, that is typical.
Okay. And can you, at this point, tell us what the balance is in that revenue code? It's showing 100,000, but that's what it was budgeted at.
Yeah, so originally it was budgeted at 100,000 and we're putting the $358,000, which is making it the 458,000.
But I think, as was mentioned by the speaker earlier tonight, we have no reports to know what the actual balance is in that account. Can you share that information with us?
I don't have that in front of me, but I can get that to you,
Okay.
certainly.
Yeah, and until we get reports, it would be helpful if we had some sort of, if you wanted to include it in your supporting document or something,
What's
so
the
that
current
we-
balance?
so that we knew what we're really dealing with here.
Sure. I can tell
Okay.
you that there is funds available in that account. Of the 100,000 that was originally budgeted, there is a remaining balance of that, not of the total 100,000. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I did review it before doing this.
Okay,
Council President,
Councilman Vera?
I have a question for Mr. Kreshik. I see you standing. Yeah, I was just curious if there are any strings attached to the funds. Is there anything are there any obligations the city has in order to make sure that we get that 358,000?
No, it's,
No.
this is kind of a unique because it's a city building used by the court system. So there was somewhat of a delay in getting the work started. A contract was executed in July and then signed by the city in August. There was a pre-construction meeting as well in August. I was assigned to the project while on vacation. So I came back and met up with the contractor. What was not done though was a PO wasn't generated prior to the pre-construction meeting. So what had to be done was to resolve the deficit, potential deficit for pay applications coming in. That's since been done with the fund associated with this project. There's 40,000 in it right now to take care of the initial pay apps. And then my understanding from procurement is that we will have that fund be funded throughout the construction process, which is supposed to conclude by the end of November. And then in the next submission for reimbursement to the court system from procurement, Nancy Piskus will do this, the total amount due, and the contract was for 358,000, that'll be reimbursed at that time. So there'll be a short bridge that I don't know where the city funds come from for that bridge, but the reimbursement will happen within a quarter from the end of the project.
So you anticipate there being some sort of delay between the contractor submitting final invoices and then getting the reimbursement and paying?
Well, my understanding is the reimbursement request to the court system is done on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
So it'd have to wait for that.
So at least a
quarter.
90-day
Yeah.
delay. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions from council members? Okay, thank you both. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Take a vote on ordinance 48. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance is adopted unanimously. Ordinance 49, ordinance declaring certain city-owned personal property as surplus and directing the office of the city controller to sell or dispose of the surplus property. Council President Steele, at the request of the administration, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, second. Councilmember McLaren. Discussion on the resolution? I'm just curious, Gabrielle, how does this get advertised for the public to know that they can buy some of these items?
So we use a company, Collar City Auction,
Okay.
and they advertise and they auction off all of the items that are declared surplus.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you for that. I think that's helpful.
welcome.
For new members. Okay, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 7-0, or ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 50, ordinance amending Chapter 148 electricians and Chapter 228 plumbing of the Troy City Code. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. Discussion on the resolution. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted unanimously. Ordinance is adopted unanimously. I'm having a problem tonight with my ordinances and resolutions. We'll move on to ordinance 51, which is an ordinance amending the 2024 general fund budget. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion on the resolution. Catch up here.
Council President.
Councilmember McLaren.
How many animals are we talking about? That are, do we know?
Yes, I would need you to be a little bit more specific.
So we're covering temporary salaries for the animals who are deceased animals who are being held
Yeah,
at the
so
garage.
it's day-to-day changes.
Okay,
We actually want to be a revolving door, so they're
sure.
coming in
Yeah.
and they're coming out.
Yep.
That's like in a perfect world, right? It totally depends. Some days we have two, some days there's, more. But I actually this morning, the last 2 days, I've built relationships with 2 more places. So I'm just trying to have as many aces in my pocket to
Yep.
just consistently, move dogs from place to place as we can. So, but there's police raids that come up, there's things that just happen. And we're just trying to make sure that we're giving them the best place to at least stay for however, a week, 3 days, whatever it ends up
Yeah.
being.
okay, thanks.
I know it says temporary.
Yeah.
Can you just give us an average of how long that stay is before they're actually taken to a shelter?
So we have to carry them. We have to shelter them for 5 days. So if it's a stray dog, again, I know I've said this before, but a lot of our strays are homeless people that can't take care of the dogs and they just roam around. They literally are strays. But sometimes they are dogs that, they just get out. We had someone come today, he redeemed his dog and it just got out on him and we had it for a couple of days. He had to produce his rabies shot for it before he brought it to us. So that took a little while. So legally we have to keep it for at least 5 days before it's either redeemed back to the person that owns it or before we move it on to one of our partners.
Council President,
Councilman Vera?
are there any costs that are recouped for that? If
Yeah,
we- if
so
we pick up a stray?
redemptions are $125.
Okay.
So I
And
would
that's a
love,
5-day stay at
Yep.
our new kennel, $125.
New kennel.
even if they're there for.
That is what it is. It's a kennel, right?
Well, I would
essentially.
say it's more of a temporary, shelter, I guess, so. This would depend. So,
How many kennels do you have?
we have 8. So there's 8 cages.
And who's actually administering this, and how did this come about? And this is kind of new to us. So I appreciate
Can-
any information.
Yep, can I jump in here? Quickly, if you recall, when I took office in January, we found out over that weekend. It's out. There it is.
It's working.
Hold on. All right. When I took office in January, the weekend I took office, Kevin had 3 strays. Normally, in the past, we would bring those strays over to the Humane Society. I guess toward the end of 2023, it began. Humane Society told Kevin, we don't take any more strays. We're at capacity, state laws changed, et cetera. Fast forward, where do we bring our strays? We were fortunate at that time to find a couple kennels in the capital region who were helping us out here and there. It was a pure Band-Aid. We were informed by Ag Markets, you need a temporary shelter. We had nowhere to bring the dogs. Fast forward, the Humane Society, we tried to create a partnership with them where they would help us adopt dogs, et cetera. They turned us down, unfortunately. So we looked all throughout the city of Troy. We came up with a temporary shelter, which is our DPW garage. If you recall, the city council actually authorized us to enter into a contract in the spring with Saratoga County Animal Shelter. They have a Taj Mahal. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a county shelter. We'd love to have one here in the county. The city certainly can't afford one. So in my opinion, this is, right now, it's working. We've created other partnerships with other local nonprofits. Maria has done a phenomenal job. Joe Mazzarillo, Joe Martin, their shop, Kevin McDonough has great partnerships. So what we will do, we'll keep the strays, we'll feed them, get them the necessary vaccinations, et cetera. Maria contacts the nonprofits. They put the call out to adopt the dogs. In the meantime, we're also on social media. The police department and Maria are putting these dogs' picture up in case someone lost a dog, et cetera. So we do get folks who have lost a dog come down, retrieve the dog, as you heard, $125 to retrieve that dog, et cetera. But when we came out with, this whole, we came out into the public to notify folks that this was happening. The Humane Society was not accepting dogs. I did get calls from other local municipal leaders such as Waterville, some other municipal leaders who I don't want to mention publicly yet. They have a similar situation as Troy does. It's a regional issue. It's not just the city of Troy. The Humane Society has told other municipalities who were in contract with them that they are not accepting dogs and that they're at capacity. So fast forward, what I'd like to see, this is, we say temporary. We are not really what I feel in a position both financially and just we're utilizing obviously staff to help out now. We're pulling temporary salaries. What you're approving tonight, we've hired a temporary employee to help Kevin, to help walk the dogs, to help feed the dogs, because he just obviously can't do this 24/7. So regionally, what I would like to do, and I have talked to Mayor Patricelli over in Watervliet about having a meeting to really look at the bigger picture. The county right now, unfortunately, I know Carol Weaver, some other county legislators have approached the county exec and others about county shelter. It's just not happening. So we have to take the bull by the horns as leaders, municipalities, work together to try to find a long-term solution. I have talked to Craig Apple also about this issue. Craig received, the sheriff of Albany County, a $500,000 grant. He's utilizing some of the jail because we all know that obviously the capacity of jails have gone down since bail reform. So he is turning part of his jail into a shelter. So it might be an option down the road, but it doesn't happen overnight. As Maria indicated, you know, it's going to be a long-term fix. It's going to take some time. It's going to take money. But I do feel regionally, if we could work together with other municipalities, we could find a long-term solution. But this is working right now. As Maria stated, we could go anywhere from 3 dogs up to, you know, 9, maybe 9 or 10 dogs. And saying that she's built some great relationships. And now we have the contract with the Saratoga County Animal Shelter, which you've obviously partner with us on that. So, you know, stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. But for now, the good news, the temporary shelter is working. Yeah, would we love a better option? Yes, but we're, you know, doing everything humanly possible to keep these dogs, you know, moving forward, find them good homes. And, you know, honestly, what if you saw some of the way that people treat some of these dogs is just horrifying. But, you know, we're doing everything we can.
Thank you very
Okay,
much. You
yep.
anticipated one of my questions, which was the temporary salaries. Councilman Vera?
Yeah, I'm curious, what line item are we paying for
Yep.
dog food, vaccines? How are we paying for all of the other needs of the
Yep.
facility?
Maria?
So I do have, from my budget line, it's been coming out of my budget line.
Consultant?
Yeah.
401?
For
Okay.
what would have been the Mohawk contract. And we actually have been getting a lot of donations too. Benson's gave us a big pallet a couple of weeks ago. That's been a big help. We had people, they brought toys, they brought snacks, treats, food, blankets. People, actually somebody after the meeting last night messaged me, they wanted to donate. So, it's,
And this is only dogs.
yes. I actually have someone, who doesn't want me to ever say their name out loud, that if there's a cat situation, I reach out to this person.
I think I know who that is.
Yep. So don't say it. Don't say it. Please don't say it.
We love her.
Well
We love
kept,
her.
well kept secret.
Okay. So I talk to her. God loves her once a week. And, that's all, you know, that's good.
So you're ready if that happens.
Yes. Yep.
But
Great.
so the expense wise, you're okay with
Yep.
the money that's been set aside for
Yeah, I
consulting
mean,
services and
It's a weird thing to say, I guess, losing the Mohawk kind of was a gift and a curse, because it's like, it kind of set us up to prepare us.
Okay.
I've been saying this for the last couple of months. We're all in uncharted territories with this situation. All of us, the administration, me, Joe's guys, we're all new, and it's been like a big team just trying to figure out literally day to day. You know, I reach out to other municipalities, other city clerks, fosterings, foster places. I made a friend with another place that's like an hour away, just because if we're ever in a bind and we get a raid and there's, you know, in the beginning when like this year, we had 28 Chihuahuas. So, and I had to find homes for all of them, 28 of them. So it was a police raid / like hoarding situation. So it's just, again, it can be nothing today and tomorrow it's totally different. So.
Right.
And just one last thing, because you and I had spoken earlier
Sure.
today. The facility has been inspected by Ag and Markets
Yep.
and it's
I
it's
actually
compliant
even,
and-
I actually even
right.
talked to her today and I've gotten compliments from them and other foster places, rescues that say some of our dogs live in better conditions than where they like live at home, people's homes. So that's why this situation today is super important because we want to make sure that it stays clean, they're fed, they're taken care of, they're, running around, going, enjoying their life while we have them, for sure.
Great. Any other questions?
Council President, I just want to thank the council. Thank Maria. She has done a phenomenal job. Joe, his crew, the administration, Dana, Rick, everyone is pulled together on this. We have put way too many hours into it. It's for a good cause, but you can only imagine what it's taken to do this. But thank you to the council. You're a huge partner, so thanks.
Very good. The dogs of Troy are being cared for.
Doing our best.
We're doing our best.
Doing
That's
our
all we
best.
can do. Very good.
Council President,
Councilman McClure.
before we vote, I just want to reiterate what the mayor just said. Thank you. I guess I knew that we were having problems with Mohawk Humane, but I guess I never really thought about, well, what was happening with all of those dogs. I just didn't realize. So thank you as a, as a dog owner and
Mohawk Hudson, right.
is that what I said?
I think so.
Oh, okay. So thank you.
Right, right. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 51 is adopted unanimously. Ordinance 52, ordinance authorizing the creation of a capital project and amending the capital projects fund to appropriate funding to the fire department project. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan, discussion on the resolution?
Council President.
Councilman Vera?
I just want to clarify. So this is the bond that was authorized earlier in the year and all we're authorizing is that the money be deposited into the account? Okay. All right.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution, ordinance 52 is adopted unanimously. Ordinance 53, ordinance amending the water fund budget to appropriate funding from the assigned unappropriated fund balance of the water fund for the purpose of purchasing materials and supplies. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilman Keel. Discussion on the resolution, on the ordinance.
Council President.
Councilman Vera.
Yeah, this is one of those transfers. I just don't follow where the funds are coming from. Did we receive 180,000?
So the funds are not budgeted in the 2024 budget. They're unappropriated funds that we are now appropriating into a budget line.
Within the water fund.
Within the water fund.
Okay, so that balance of unappropriated funds, that's not included on Schedule A then?
It is not.
Okay. So that's the bucket the 180 is coming out of. And then it's going into revenue and then right back out through expenses.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And here's another instance. I'll just be a broken record. But we're showing 150,000 as the original budget. We have no way of knowing what's actually in that account. And please understand our dilemma.
So this unappropriated fund balance, I contacted our auditors to ask a similar question to that.
Okay,
And they reviewed our unappropriated fund balance for the water fund and said that this amount wouldn't come close to the amount that was the ending balance of 12/31/22.
Of the unappropriated,
Correct.
right?
And that number has probably increased since then.
Any other questions? Thank you all. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 53 is adopted unanimously. Ordinance 54, ordinance amending the 2024 Capital Projects Fund budget. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion on the ordinance. This is another instance where the revenue, we're anticipating it. Is that what I understand? But it has not arrived. Similar to the previous ordinance.
That is correct.
Council President.
Councilmember Vera.
This is the yearly award for these programs, correct?
Correct.
Not the rollover amounts.
It's the yearly award, not the
yearly award,
rollover
okay.
amounts. Correct.
So this money has only been accounted for once.
Correct.
here, okay.
Yes, that is correct.
And is that the 2025 award then?
It is the 2024-25 award.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Council President.
Councilmember McLaren.
Not necessarily a question, but you are wearing a lot of hats. Yeah. And we appreciate your, coming up here and answering all these questions. Please don't take them as our lack of faith in you. It's just, frustration with not having the whole picture. So thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
All in favor of ordinance 54?
Aye.
Opposed? Adopted unanimously. Ordinance 55, ordinance authorizing sales of certain city-owned parcels of real property by the proposal sale application method. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento, seconded by Councilmember Keel. Discussion?
Council President.
Councilmember McLaren.
So not being part of the property review committee, I'm just wondering why with assessed value so high, there must be more to it than we're seeing right here as to why we're taking bids for $100 on properties that are assessed much higher.
I can answer that question generally. Sometimes it's a question of how much money is being invested in it, and it could have been a lag. There could have been damage to the property through fire that would dramatically decrease the value. I'm not on the committee, so I can't speak to those specific properties. I'm speculating.
So the foreclosed properties, and Councilmember Vera is a member of the Real Property Committee.
As is Councilman Casey.
Yes, and Councilmember Casey. A minority, a majority, the deputy mayor, code, community police, Sharon Martin is here. Where is Sharon? Do you mind coming up, Sharon, and just explain the process? So the foreclosed property list, many of the properties are blighted. They might be burned out, et cetera. And these properties, obviously, we're trying to get folks to home own the property, new homeowners, et cetera. So it's not the lowest, it's not the highest bid necessarily, it's the best use. I'll let Sharon talk about if you have any particular properties, that you're asking about, but
There's only two on this.
okay, yeah, so these were the two that were added on 8th Ave. So I apologize, council member. What was your exact question about these two properties
No, I
or
was just in general, why
Okay.
would we take a
Yeah.
bid for $100 when the property is worth more than that? So obviously there's
Right.
more to,
Yes.
more than what we've seen here.
So generally, it's what it's going to be in the future. And this particular bid is for either brand new construction or a senior housing building, which long-term, that money, the tax amount that we'll receive will be better.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it is, believe me, I was in your shoes. It's very deceiving. You look at an assessed value and you're saying, oh my gosh, and we're only getting $500. But once that property obviously is rehab, put back on the market or owned, by that particular purchaser, living in that property, obviously the assessed value will be back up there, if not more.
Any other questions? Thank you all.
Council President.
Council,
Oh,
sorry.
not a question. For these particular properties, I'm not sure which one. I believe it's the first one on the list. We did receive three different bids that we entertained. One was for $1 from Joseph's House. The bid that's in front of us for $100. And then we also received a bid for $20,000. I think going forward, it would be helpful to include all of the proposals received. I know it will make the packets larger, but I think it would be useful to know that there was, a larger bid. The issue the property review committee had with it was the intended use.
Okay.
And so the committee as a whole decided that this would be a better use.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation.
Council President.
Councilmember Casey.
Yeah, I mean, we would like to get the highest bids in this, but I think in the old days that's way back when, that's what they did. But it is really good to be able to choose based on what you think would be best for the area and best for the city and the neighborhood. And so nowadays, it's not always the highest bidder, but it definitely is a consensus of the group of what would be the best use. Some of these properties have sat on the list, vacant lots for a long time and nobody's purchased them. So it's good to see that finally some of these are purchased. I wish we could get more, but I think it really, we all agreed would be just a good use of the properties. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
Councilmember Keel?
What guarantee do we have that this $100 bid person is going to actually come forth and get this job done?
We have no guarantee.
Generally, in these properties, when they're sold, we have what's called a reverter clause that gives them a certain time frame to make the improvements that they're promising on these properties. And if they're not, then we have the right to reacquire the properties.
Thank you.
Council President. Dana, hang on just a second.
Okay, don't go.
Sorry.
Councilmember Vera.
Historically, the city has been hesitant to use the reverter clause. What are your thoughts on that?
Not during this administration. I don't think that's accurate today.
Okay, excellent.
I would say we're going to be very aggressive enforcing.
In some cases where we have started to exercise the reverter clause, it has spurred the homeowner to complete the project that they originally proposed. So it's really a heads we win, tails we win, because either it will incentivize the homeowner to actually do what they said they would do, and if they don't, then we can go to court and exercise our reverter clause.
One additional question. if I
Sir,
may.
Councilmember Keel?
Is there a way that we could ask for a deposit to say, we want a $5,000 deposit, which is potentially a loss to you if we have to implement the reverter clause?
I would have to double check whether there are any restrictions on the city as a municipality doing it, but
Seems like it'd be a good idea. That's all.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dana.
thank you.
I think we can all agree on one thing, that the city of Troy, like many other communities, has a housing shortage. And in particular, the need for senior housing is acute. There are many of us, baby boomers like myself, who are aging out and looking for smaller domain. So I truly hope that these two individuals do fulfill this promise. It would be a tremendous use of what has sat dormant for years. So I'm hopeful. All in favor of ordinance 55?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
6 ayes, 1 no. Ordinance 55 is adopted. The next ordinance is 56. It was distributed to all members tonight. It requires, before we can act on it, unanimous consent. So I would entertain a motion to add this to our agenda.
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember McLaren. All in, we can discuss that motion, definitely.
It looks like a large transfer from the community center, and I apologize if this was said earlier, but what is becoming of that project? And I know $1 million doesn't go that far towards a community center. I understand that. But so is the
Yeah.
intent then to slowly siphon off the $1 million that was, is this is essentially a reappropriation of ARPA?
Correct. So as many may recall for new members, the ARPA monies, $1 million was appropriated out of the 42 mil for a North Central Community Center. We all know $1 million is not going to sustain a community center. It may be able to lease for a certain period of time, but fast forward 2 years, the community came together. There are approximately, I want to say, a dozen different groups who meet bi-weekly, one being Team Hero, Troy Look. They all meet at CEO. They talk about various issues in North Central. I believe, Deb Garrett, you're also a part of that. So they come together to talk about not obviously just the community center proposal, but many issues in North Central in various neighborhoods. And these groups do a phenomenal job, youth organizations to other organizations. Fast forward, they approached me and basically said this $1 million, obviously it's got to be at least under contract moving forward by the end of the year. ARPA monies must be moved, the ARPA projects must move forward by the end of the year, either contractually or show the Department of Treasury that these projects are underway. Otherwise, we lose those funds. So this group came together. Jerry and Team Hero are fulfilling a community center approach, more or less. Their facility, if you haven't been there, it's truly amazing. I know the council president visited. I visited. Their partnerships with RPI, other organizations, and Steve Figueroa with his restaurant, and now the partnership with the food pantry and Tom Nardacci. They're truly exploding and almost becoming a smaller type of community center. So $300,000 of that $1 million for 2 years of the program will go to Team Hero for that purpose. The other $700,000 we plan to sit with the various organizations, talk about the other 700, where they'd like to see the monies appropriated in the community. But unfortunately, it was a great idea at the time, just never moved forward. There's been talk about video gaming van, maybe potentially a video gaming night once a week, things of that nature. So we plan to meet with the various groups, and we'll come back to the steering committee, which you should be aware your council members on the steering committee is the council president and the majority pro tem. So Tom Casey and Sue Steele are on the steering committee, along with Gabrielle Mahoney acting as treasurer right now, myself, the deputy mayor and the corporation council sits in. So the steering committee approved this. We're hopeful that the council tonight will unanimously or approve it. And then we'll come back, obviously, to the steering committee on not just this project, but also potentially other projects that may not be moving forward as quickly as we hope, but we'll have a full report in October on the ARPA monies. And but these were certain that the organizations came together, and we're excited about the partnership with Team Hero.
So I see that the ask is 450,000. The transfers total 350. It looks like 50,000 is for the esports tournament. So then is the 300,000, that's the salaries that are.
The 300 is for Team Hero, and then 50,000 is for the ECAC
Oh, 2 years instead of 3 years.
esports
Okay, that's the
tournament. So
difference on there.
there's two.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's 2 years,
Yep.
not 3.
Okay.
I apologize, 2 years. Did I say 3? I apologize.
No,
Okay.
I'm, what I'm trying to do is between the transfers and the document that was provided, it looks like the
And-
document had asked for 3 years worth of funding. We're providing 2 years worth of funding.
And I think if you look at the document provided this evening, it's amended to reflect that. That backup was the initial proposal.
Understood.
So
Any other questions?
No further questions.
Other council members? Any questions?
Council President.
Council Member McLaren?
Not a question so much as just, I know Mr. Ford, have seen him in all the Troy schools, was fortunate enough to be at school 14 when his boys were there. I missed his daughter. And now I see you in the halls of school too, and I know how genuinely you care about the kids in this community. And so I thank you for that. And Mrs. Ford too. I didn't mean to leave you out. I just can't see you from where I'm sitting.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So it's on the agenda.
Now it is on the agenda, and now we will entertain a motion.
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento,
Second.
Councilmember Vera, it's seconded. Discussion on the ordinance 56. I would just echo, just very grateful to all of you for meeting this need in our community. Great need and a great use of these funds, and tremendous partnerships underway with many more to come. So thank you so much for stepping up and providing this. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 56 is adopted unanimously. Now we move on to resolutions.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Resolution 138, resolution appointing the Commissioner of Deeds for the City of Troy, Council President Steele. Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Councilmember Keel.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Vera. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adopted. Resolution 139, resolution approving the purchase of real property at 619, 629, and 633 Second Avenue for construction of a new Lansingburg firehouse. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan with a second by Councilmember Keel. Discussion on the resolution.
Council President.
Everyone wants to talk. Councilmember Keel.
Well, I just want to say for Lansingburg, this is going to be great. We need a larger capacity firehouse due to the fact that we're now doing ambulance service. So it's going to be closer to maybe one of our potential areas where they have to travel to quite a bit. So this is going to be a good thing for our community. And it will build up the corridor there on
He
Second
wants
Avenue.
these back. Thank you, Councilmember Keel. Any other questions for Dana?
Not for them.
I do, if no one else does. Can you give us an estimate on the environmental remediation, the removal of the tanks? I see an RFP has gone out. Where are we with the process?
So in order to make a final decision and close on the property, we had to have a sense of what it would cost to do the actual remediation. The two lowest bids that we have are about, I want to say $10,000 or $12,000 apart. There are some miscellaneous charges that are CT Mail, who's are coordinating the environmental studies and cleanup, is going to clarify before we make a final choice between the two low bids. I believe one is just under 80,000 and one might be just over 90,000. There's an additional fee of, I believe, about 18,000 for CT Mail to oversee the work. And that should take care of it. I don't know off the top of my head, and the chief is out sick today, what the actual studies cost us, but whatever it was has already obviously had to take place in order to make a final decision on the property.
And this is anticipated to come out of the ARPA money that was appropriated
Correct.
for this?
Yes, there was $1 million that was appropriated for the environmental studies, remediation, purchase, and with the hope that there would be some money left for preliminary design. And my understanding is that we're right around on budget to get all of that done with this initial seed money of $1 million.
Okay, and you mentioned the closing. Has that taken place?
Yes. The closing took place. We had a little bit of a slowdown getting some W-9s together. We do have to still hand over a couple of the checks, and then it'll be fully closed.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't, on behalf of the council, say that I feel that that process was slightly skewed. The council should approve the purchase in advance of the purchase. And that's concerning to me, and I hope we won't see this as a pattern in the future. It's a major disconnect between the branches of government when something like this takes place. So
Yeah, but I agree, and I understand that initially there was a misunderstanding apparently that the initial appropriation would cover the purchase as well. And honestly, the coordination and timing between the environmentals and the closing date, and there were some other issues with the closing. We were trying to pull dates together. It's rare that we buy properties in the first place, but certainly we'll make sure that the timing lines up in the future.
thank you,
Council President.
Councilmember Farrow.
So the investigation, I'll phrase this. The environmental investigation was completed prior to closing.
My understanding is the phase 1 was done in 2023. The phase 2 was done earlier this year to
Okay.
identify.
So we have a good grasp of what we're dealing with. I understand the
Correct.
final price tag for remediation won't be known until we actually start the work. But-
The bids are generally inclusive. There are a few unknowns, but they're not going to be significant. We
Okay.
know how many tanks there are from the phase 2. We know approximately where they are and approximately how big they are. The unknown is what's going to be found underneath the tanks. So we can
Right.
check we can
Right.
core the soil around the tanks and see whether there's any contamination. But until the tanks are actually removed, we can't test the soil underneath.
Okay. And we obviously couldn't undertake more destructive means of determining that before we took ownership of the property.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, you would have to
on the-
essentially we would have to do the phase 2 on property we don't own. And then if something blew up the sale, then we would have invested in the phase 2.
That's
what
kind
I
of what
mean
I'm
by the
getting at. We wouldn't have
timing.
invested more money into a property to find out we don't want it,
Right.
having maybe left it in a better condition than it
Correct.
was previously. I obviously was somewhat involved in this project when I worked for the city. But could you refresh my memory what the final price tag, what the estimated price tag, I should say, on the new firehouse is? For some reason, 5 to 8 million stuck out in my mind, but are we in that ballpark still?
I believe we're still in that ballpark, although if that quote was prior to COVID, then it may not be.
Correct,
Okay.
Councilmember Vera, about in that ballpark, but as you mentioned, this has really lingered for quite some time, unfortunately. So, we'll go back, update the preliminary and get to design. But I would say we're still looking in the ballpark 6 to 8 or 9.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Hopefully, obviously the least possible 6, 7 would be great, but we'll see.
Well, certainly want to make sure that the department gets what they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't choose.
Dana, can you give me the date of the closing, please? Do you know offhand?
I think it was last Thursday, but again, the funds haven't been fully transferred yet, so technically next Tuesday when the checks are handed over.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor?
I get under discussion.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're still discussing. Sure. Do you
Oh,
have
I
do you have a question?
apologize. I just waited for you. No, I just wanted to just say that it's a really, as a retired firefighter, this is just a great development. I know in January, this was dead in the water. There was a lot of bad blood, I guess, and some delays. I'm glad it's going forward. I'll tell you, the old firehouse has been falling apart since it was built. I always say this about 70s architecture, like the old city hall. I'm glad it's all glowing. It's terrible. I can't tell you how bad this firehouse has been. They've tried to, just keep it going, but and anybody knows 115th Street and 5th, it looks like a moon station. It's just a terrible building. And this is just going to be a great addition to that neighborhood. And there's a grant to study improvement of that corridor. It's going to really make a difference. And with this being the newest firehouse, there's new developments as far as how they're designed for firefighter safety and contaminants in the building and everything. So this is really just a great thing to get a new firehouse and to have it on 2nd Avenue there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Casey. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 139 is adopted unanimously. Thank you, Dana. Resolution 140, resolution approving the appointment of Danielle Halpin as assistant to the city clerk and setting the annual salary of the assistant to the city clerk. Councilmember Casey. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento with a second by Councilmember Brosnan. Okay. Discussion on the resolution.
Council President Steele.
Councilmember Casey.
I'm just glad we got in this day and age, sometimes it's hard to get help and new people, especially for an entry level position. I'm very thankful to everybody involved who recruited her. I also want to say that Lindsay Snyder was with us. Just did such a wonderful job, and I was so impressed that I actually poached her for the Rensselaer County Board of Elections because we needed somebody that was of that caliber in that office. And I just thought of her. She just did such a wonderful job, and I want to thank her for the job she did. She's going to have a great career ahead of her, wherever she ends up. But I'm just so thankful that we have a continuation in the office and we're fully staffed. Thank you.
It looks like Danielle has great customer service skills. The only thing I didn't see, and I just wanted to ask about computer skills. There was no mention of that.
Yeah, she has like computer skills, Google, Excel, from like high school and things like that. So
Okay, great. It just wasn't on the resume, so.
Yeah, she does a lot of systems with bar management and things. She does books for some of them. as well.
Great, great. That's wonderful. Okay, any other questions, comments? Welcome aboard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now officially welcome aboard.
Not yet.
Oh, right, we have one more. Okay. Resolution 141, resolution to commemorate the life and service of James J. Conroy, September 28, 1947 to August 14th, 2024, by designating a portion of Second Street between Congress Street and Division Street as Jim Conroy Way. Council President Steele. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan.
Second.
Councilmember McLaren. Discussion on the resolution. I think this is a great way to commemorate a great gentleman in our city. He was a standout promoter of Troy and an outstanding deputy mayor who devoted his life to our city. So I would hope you'd all support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is adopted unanimously. I would enter. Yes. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan with a second by Councilmember Soriento. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. And go, if there's no objection, we'll go right into the special meeting. I did. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to a special meeting of the Troy City Council. We're close. It's 7:05. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Keel.
Sure.
Councilmember Brosnan.
Here.
Councilmember Spain McLaren.
Present.
Councilmember Vera.
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Here.
Councilmember Casey.
Present.
Council President Steele.
Present.
All are present.
We have a few items that were previously adopted at our finance meeting, several ordinances and resolutions on the agenda. Does anyone wish to speak on any item on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move right along. Ordinance 48.
Ordinance 48, ordinance amending the 2024 general fund budget. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
We have a motion.
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Ordinance 48 passes.
At this time, I've been notified that we need to add ordinance 50 to the agenda. So I would entertain a motion to add it to the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento, seconded by Councilmember Vera. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we are adding ordinance 50.
Thank you. Want me to read it? Are we going to read it?
Please.
Ordinance 50, ordinance amending chapter 148 electricians and chapter 228 plumbing of the Troy City Code. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel,
Second.
Councilmember Soriento, seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Ordinance 50 passes.
Ordinance 51.
Thank you. Ordinance 51, ordinance amending the 2024 general fund budget. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren with a second by Councilmember Soriento. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Ordinance 51 passes.
Ordinance 52.
Ordinance 52, ordinance authorizing the creation of a capital project and amending the capital projects fund to appropriate funding to the fire department project. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, second.
Second.
Councilmember McLaren. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Ordinance 52 passes.
Ordinance 53.
Ordinance 53, ordinance amending the water fund budget to appropriate funding from the assigned unappropriated fund balance
of the water fund for the purpose of purchasing materials and supplies. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento with a second by Councilmember McLaren. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 53 passes.
Ordinance 54.
Ordinance 54, ordinance amending the 2024 capital projects fund budget. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember McLaren. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sorry, I thought I was gonna sneeze. 7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 54 passes.
Resolution 139.
Resolution 139, resolution approving the purchase of real property at 619, 629, and 633 Second Ave for the construction of a new Lansingburg firehouse. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, seconded
Second.
by Councilmember Casey. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 139 passes.
Resolution 140.
Resolution 140, resolution approving the appointment of Danielle Halpin as assistant to the city clerk and setting the annual salary of the assistant to the city clerk. Councilmember Casey.
Motion.
Council, I'm sorry, I was just blown away by the enthusiasm of that reading. That was excellent. Thank you, Maria, for that enthusiastic, yes, indeed. Okay.
Yeah,
Second.
I wish I could.
Motion made by Councilmember Soriento and seconded by Councilmember Vera. Discussion.
Council President,
Too many
Council-
dogs, running around the city, There's a lot going on.
it- I happened to stop by the city clerk's office earlier in the week, and it sounds like it's been a long one. So I think this is great.
All right, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 140 passes.
All
Woo!
Congratulations.
If only all of our legislation received that kind of. We are doing good things in the city. We really are.
Council President,
Yes,
this is gonna go, the ordinance 56 is gonna go on to the
the
regular
regular
meeting.
meeting.
Okay.
Yes, right. At this time in our evening, we have the opportunity for any member of the public to address the council on any item, not necessarily on the agenda. Please come forward and give us your name, please. I believe there's a mic up there.
Yes.
Great.
Good evening, Mr. Cliff Conyers. I live at 812 River Street. Months ago, I came in and spoke about the traffic there. None has been done about that, but the traffic between Bond Street and River, that's where I stay at. The traffic is outrageous, speeding. And I'm wondering, can there be some type of speed bumps put there in front of those, especially in front of 814 and 808, but anywhere on that block? Because the speeds, I've seen like 2 accidents in the past 6 months. Lady opened her door, she had the kid in the back, car hit it. It's that outrageous. And I just want to bring that again to the city council member. Hopefully that can get dealt with. This is some type of speed bumps. They're not gonna pay attention to signs, slow down on that. It's something that's gonna have to force them to slow down. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We appreciate it. Does anyone else wish to address the council on any item? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember
Second.
Soriento, seconded by Councilmember Brosnan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Wow.